Sukolisa Gwyn kanya ilat niung gets. My Oneida name means smoke going straight up. I'm Wolf Clan. I live here on the Oneida Nation reservation, and my English name is Jen Falk, and I am a member of láku. In addition to that, I spend a lot of time working with the tribal elder food box in Wisconsin, so I have kind of dual roles with the boxes.
My name is Laura Manthe. My Oneida name is She Goes Over the Clouds. And my daughter and I started láku about 7 years ago with the desire to grow more food in our community, to provide more food for people to eat healthier, and to practice food sovereignty, and to build a seed bank. We're originally from the state of New York, and we moved to Wisconsin after the Revolutionary War. We were forced out, and our ancestors brought our white corn seeds with them. They came over on a boat called Walking on the Water, which was really not a really good vessel. And some of our relatives got off in Canada because it was so treacherous, and they still have a settlement there to this day. And our relatives made it all the way to Green Bay, and they brought their seeds with them. And they came in the fall, and they had to decide if they were going to eat that corn or if they were going to save it and plant it in the springtime. And so we're really thankful to them that they had the foresight to grow the food that we still grow today.
Some years ago, we were struggling to have enough corn for everyone. There's a tribal program that grows corn, was doing an awesome job, but it wasn't enough. And none of us knew how to grow corn, so that was something else. And we showed up year one, and we had like a pocket full of seeds. And now 7 years later, we just harvested our largest harvest to date, 16,000 pounds of corn.
I'm Leah Z, and I'm a member of láku, which is a corn co-op at Oneida Nation in Wisconsin. We're a group of Oneida community members that grow our ancestral corn, and we were about 5 years into that process, and we had this opportunity from Feeding Wisconsin to provide corn as a cornmeal product into the tribal elder food box.
So in our community, before even our organic farm started, there were only a few families that kept growing the white corn, and they were providing a very special bread that we call ganstohal. And they only were able to provide it once a year, so it was usually Thanksgiving time or Christmas time. And people really looked forward to that because it was the only time of year that they were getting our corn. But we're meant to eat it more often than that through our traditional teachings and through our creation story. The Great Law and the Code of Handsome Lake all mention our white corn in them. And those are the guiding principles that we use in our group. We try to include as much culture and language in our group as we can.
The most important thing that we are doing is we're not growing food, we're growing farmers, and we're growing that knowledge in our community that has been really actively oppressed for a very long time, and we're the leaders in rebuilding that. And like they say, repairing the bridge between the generations. So it's not just involving the youth, but involving the elders and giving them a place of honor within the circle to share what they know, so that that bridge can really be complete and everybody feels like their gifts can be shared in that circle. When the Tribal Elder Food Box opportunity came up, we thought this was a really good opportunity for us to get our native grown corn to other native people, especially elders, who were receiving boxes of foods that weren't necessarily the best for them and their health. And we thought if we could put our corn in there, then they would have something familiar, they would have something that would be easily digestible, and they would have something that is, culturally relevant for them. So we started scrambling because we had enough corn to make that much cornmeal, but we didn't have any of the infrastructure to do that. I ended up going to Meat People, which is a butcher shop in Madison, with my partner, and he was obsessed with the meats, and I saw a cornmeal bag, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I looked on the back, and it said that it was actually milled in Wisconsin, and it was a local company.
Leah was thinking about it. She's like, I have this bag of flour that came from this really great place where they stone mill. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna call them and see if they can help us out with this.
I'm Hallie Wefking, co-owner of Meadowlark Organics and Meadowlark Community Mill in Ridgeway, Wisconsin. Leah brought a sample of corn here to try to mill. And I think we encountered some setbacks.
We were like, okay, we can roast 300 pounds of corn in Oneida and then drive it down to Meadowlark Mill and grind it and then drive it back to Oneida and bag it up.
As excited as we were to work with láku, it was also clear that we have so much respect for how the corn is grown and cared for and harvested and graded and dried and roasted, and then to run that corn very unceremoniously through our mill felt really uncomfortable, I don't know, at best. After all the excitement and then the reality of maybe this isn't the best fit, I remembered Gwenyn Hill's mill and put láku in touch with Linda. I was hopeful that that would work out and that you would be able to have total control of the process.
My name's Linda Hawley, and I'm the general manager of Gwenyn Hill Farm here in the Kettle Moraine area of southeastern Wisconsin. So an example of sometimes taking the wrong direction and having to correct course was the day someone called me up and said that they had a mill for sale. I'm like, perfect, that's what we need. Then we learned what we didn't know. First of all, you have to install the mill, you have to install it correctly. It really needs a proper facility. You can't just put it in the corner of your barn. And the more we had conversations with agencies that might have zoning or licensure or inspection authority, the more we realized they had no idea what the answers were for something as small as this that would be on a farm, milling their own grain, sort of commercial, but mostly just for our own use and our own personal customers. Fortunately, I talked enough about my frustration in not being able to install my mill that some friends from Artisan Grain Collaborative heard me and realized that we had a mill that we might never use. And they knew of people who wanted a mill. And so they made the connection.
And so on Easter of that year, we drove down to the farm and we purchased this brand new, still in the crate, stone grinder that the other farmer had purchased from another farmer who bought it and couldn't use it. So we're the third owner of it, but the first user of it.
Yeah, and it was really lucky too because we had just gotten a grant to buy some equipment. And so the stars really aligned for us on that. And we were really excited that we could put a mill to work that existed and also buy it at a price that wasn't the retail price because we hadn't had any income coming into our organization that wasn't grant-based.
We were really glad to have them roll into our driveway, tell them everything we knew about our mill, which was only about this much, and send them on their way to really allow that mill to have, a really central role in what their mission was.
So it was really nice to make that connection. And I think actually get some tutoring on how to run the mill, which was really helpful because we had no experience with any milling equipment at all. And so it all just kind of worked out really well, I think. So that happened, and then at the same time, we got access to a community kitchen in Oneida, so we could actually roast multiple trays of corn at once and then mill it. And we were just like in awe of how fast we could produce the corn, the cornmeal. So then we were able to get multiple orders to the Tribal Elder Food Box program, which meant that multiple boxes that went out had that cornmeal in it for the elders. And then we got income into our program that's like general operating funds. So now we're like, okay, we can fix the tractor, we can get some better bags, we can, get things that were on our wish list that were out of reach for us, and now we have the capacity to do that. It's really amazing because when I was growing up, there was corn around at special events, at holidays, but now the youth and the families that are part of láku, they can eat corn every day if they want to. And that's not a world that I grew up in. So it's really exciting to feel like they're like living in this new normal of food sovereignty, and that they're gonna be able to pass that on to their kids. And we've been doing these exchanges and having these peer-to-peer mentoring relationships with other tribes that are growing corn. And so we've started mentoring other, kind of getting into the space where we know just enough to teach somebody else something. And so building the relationship with your mill was kind of us reaching outside of that bubble, that Indigenous agriculture bubble, to build a partnership with a non-Indigenous farmer in the region, and to have you like be an ally and support us was